Welcome back. So today, something that I've noticed a lot is that tons of people are asking lots of really good questions in the DCP Facebook page, and some of those questions are repeated or some of them don't get answered, and so I thought today I would make a video just going through the Facebook page and answering questions that I've seen. I am a DCP alumni, and then I'm going back next spring. Yeah, so I figured I would answer some of those questions, and I did make a post saying like, hey, I'm making this video, like a Q&A. Let me know what questions you guys have, and tons of people asked really good questions, so I'll answer those, and then just scroll through and see what I find. So let's get started. Just to begin with, so I've been recently talking with Jason Sorrell. He's a CP alumni, former Imagineer. He's a Disney author, and now he's a senior creative director at Universal, which is super dope. Guys, he's a really great guy. He's like a screenwriter. He was super influential with like Haunted Mansion and writing the Star Tours theme. And he was a CP, so he said that that set him on his path and was like super beneficial for him. I told him that I was making this video, and I asked him if he has any advice. The most beneficial thing to him, especially if you want to stay with the company or do a professional internship, which I do, he says just to explore as many aspects of the company as possible in the time you have to see what most appeals to you and where you might best fit in, and try to meet with as many leaders for informational interviews as possible. You have the opportunity to like really take advantage of this internship because you can meet so many cool people, you can make those connections, like set up meet and greets, set up interviews, let people know who you are. Like if you're applying for another job back home or another internship somewhere or a professional internship, you have really good references. And a Disney reference especially is gonna make or break your job opportunity. Connor says, what was your timeline like from the time you checked into your apartment to traditions to when you actually started working? What did those few days when you were before, what did you do those few days when you were there before traditions? Good question, Connor. So I checked in on a Tuesday. A lot of people check in on a Monday. There was like some holiday, so we couldn't check in on a Monday. So we checked in on a Tuesday. I have a hair in my mouth. You'll check in anywhere from 8:15 to 2. You'll get your housing ID, all that stuff, figure out where your apartment is, and then go to your apartment, meet all your new roommates, and then start unpacking. And basically the first few days there, you're gonna be unpacking a lot because you just brought your whole life with you. Also, the same day of check-in is casting, and that's super easy. You just take a bus. You have to be in Disney look from the shoulders up, so make sure you don't have any extra piercings. Like I'll have to take out my second piercings. Make sure your makeup is like reasonable, nothing like crazy, I guess. And then you'll leave casting, have the rest of the night. I know a ton of people do like roommate gifts and stuff that first day, but a lot of it's just going to be unpacking. You will have like 3 or 4 days after check-in until traditions, and in that time you'll probably have a housing event, which is just like you'll be assigned a time where you have to go, and they basically just explain like the rules and what you can have in your apartment, what you can't have in your apartment. The next event would be traditions, and so traditions will usually be on a Friday or Saturday, so if you arrive on a Monday, that kind of gives you like a timeline of how much free time you'll have. There's tons of videos about traditions, so you guys know all about that. And then you can get into the parks. And after traditions, a lot of people literally start training the very next day on like that Sunday. So in that time before, I know like on the days where we had off, my roommates and I went resort hopping. We got Dole Whips at the Polynesian and watched Happily Ever After on the beach, which was tons of fun. We went like to the mall in Orlando. Like there's so much stuff that you can do. A lot of times your family will be there with you, like helping you unpack and stuff, and so you're kind of spending your time with your family. But don't forget about your roommates, because those first few days are very crucial, because after that you just start going at it and you start training and everything, and then you actually start working, and once you start working, your schedule is going to be insane. So make sure that you do spend time with your roommates so that you guys can develop that base friendship, because that's crucial. Good question, Connor. Austin said, how often did you explore the areas of Orlando on your time off, Universal, beaches, or home? I was there from January till August, and I never went home, which I don't necessarily recommend, because towards the end of my program I was getting pretty homesick. I'm definitely the type of person that needs to be able to go out and like kind of unwind and drive around and listen to music and like clear my head and stuff, and I didn't have my car there, and so there were times where I felt very trapped. I think that if I had gone home just for like a weekend or something, I wouldn't have felt like that, and it would have been a lot better. But as for like Universal and beaches and stuff, I didn't get a Universal pass, but I did go a few times. Went to the beach so much. That was my place. Like, I was at the beach all the time. But I know, like, my older sister did the program with me, and she never went to the beach. I think maybe twice. So it's honestly just like, in the free time you have, you'll learn to prioritize, and you'll learn to do the stuff that you want to do. That was a really dumb sentence. Honestly, don't worry about it. You'll have plenty of time to do whatever. Usually everyone has 1 or 2 days off a week, maybe more, and you can always schedule more off. I know there was another question that I saw one time that was like, I heard if you're there for 5 months, you can only schedule 5 days off. That's not true. Like, you can schedule whatever you want off. Just make sure that you are working enough that you can pay rent. They take rent out weekly. You'll know how much that is based off of your housing. It's around $100 a week on average. So make sure that you're working at least 10 hours a week, and you'll be fine. Jordan says, how strict is the DCP? Can my face stop becoming so exposed? How strict is DCP housing? Okay, so they're strict about what you can and can't have in your apartment. So, and they'll go over that all in the housing event. It's your time to be like, hey, I brought this machete from my home in Ohio, and turns out I can't have this, so take it. And they'll be like, thank you, no consequences. So if you have anything that they mention that you can't have in your apartment, give it up then. Because if they find it, you will get termed no questions asked, and that's when you're fired. And if you're fired, no matter if they find it at 11 p.m. the night before, you have to be out by 8 a.m. the next day. So don't recommend pushing the limits. Ooh, Maris? I'm so sorry. It's Marys. Mary's? She says, what was your worst guest interaction? I was very blessed because I did custodial, which I know, you barf, disgusting. Yes. Okay. I don't know if this counts as a guest interaction, but it's disgusting. So I was in one of the restrooms, and it's like the busiest one in Magic Kingdom, which means it's probably like the busiest in all of the parks. Some lady, we were super busy, it was like right after fireworks, she came up to me and she was like, hey, I just want to let you know there's like an accident in that one stall. And I was like, okay, that's totally fine. Can you point it out to me where it is? And she's like, I don't want to go back in there. The toilet was really disgusting. I didn't want to use it, so I peed on the ground. Yeah, this lady came up to me and said that she literally went to the bathroom on the ground because she didn't want to use a toilet. Human beings are disgusting. So I guess that was my worst guest interaction. I don't know. Name one interesting fact about yourself. They're in a new Politics music video? It's dope. I had a sleepover with Shia LaBeouf. Carson, I don't believe you. That's too cool to be like, I'm a normal human being, but I've had a sleepover with Shia LaBeouf. But I was in an earthquake and volcanic eruption within 2 hours of each other when I was in Guatemala. Caitlin says, what are the classes like? How many did people take? Is it required? It's not required to take classes. When I went down there, I didn't take any through my university. I took a semester off, which is awesome. That's like best case scenario. If you guys can pause scholarships or loans or whatever you have and go down to Florida and not take classes, I highly recommend that. But I definitely understand that that's not not possible for a lot of people. So no, they're not required. You're going to be working like 45 hours a week minimum, and that's if you don't apply for distance learning. I would say just like, you know yourself better than anyone else. You know what you can handle. It's going to be very easy to want to spend your days off like in the parks or going out to the beach or doing something fun. You're not going to want to sit at home and do classes. So take that as you will. Okay, Emily says, what is the end of the program like? How much free time did you have to actually do other things? Did you make any magical moments? And then Becca wanted to know that too. She says, like, it's easy to find stuff about arrival, but you don't see stuff about leaving. Great question. Yeah, that's very true. There are a lot of videos and stuff about what happens when you arrive, because I think that's what most people are stressed out about at this point. But leaving can be kind of confusing too. For me, my last day was on a Thursday, and so don't plan anything for Thursday. You have to be out by 8 a.m. I think. And you'll say goodbye to all your roommates and coworkers and everything the night before, like your last shift or something, so that everyone on Thursday just kind of leaves, which is super sad and heartbreaking, but it's what has to happen. And so I think I was scheduled up until the Monday before. Disney usually tries to give people 1 or 2 days off so that they can pack and do their service celebration and stuff like that. But I do know some alumni who worked up until their very last day, which sucked. When you first get access to the hub, which is like how Disney does all of their scheduling and stuff, make sure you go in and request off a few days before, however many you want before your final day, just so that you can have those days to kind of like recuperate and collect your thoughts and feelings. But how much free time did you actually? So I was scheduled up until that Monday, but I switched off my Monday shift. So my last shift was actually that Sunday. So I had like 2 or 3 days off. I know my friends and I had really good friends there. So we all went out to dinner like the majority of the nights before I left, and we went to the beach. When you're spending your last day in each park, take like 10 or 15 minutes and just find somewhere to sit where you can people watch and focus on the sights and smells and stuff, and like write those down, because I remember exactly how it feels to feel terrified on Tower of Terror, or nostalgic on Splash Mountain because that's my favorite ride, but I don't remember exactly how Asia in Animal Kingdom smells. And those are the memories and stuff that really bring you back. So really like take the time to remember those. Magical moments. I don't know if what I did was legal. There's this thing called no strings cards, and cast members, like regular frontline CPs, are not allowed to have them. It's either coordinators or leaders. You fill it out for like a free shirt or a meal at a restaurant or a fast pass, whatever you want to do, and give it to the guest, and then the guest will give it to like whoever would be redeeming that, so like the merchandise cast member or attractions cast member, and they let them do whatever's on the card for free, no strings attached, no questions asked. My favorite coordinator was working on my last shift, and I went up to her and I was like, hey, like, it's my last shift. She was like, okay, I'm doing this, but I'm not doing this. That was the worst wink ever. She gave me her no strings book, and she was like, do not go crazy, but make some magic. And there's this little girl with her parents, and she was dancing around like crazy to the fireworks, and I walked over there and we started dancing together, and it was so much fun. And then I noticed that she had like a happy birthday button, and I was like, hey, is it your birthday? And she was like, yeah. And I was like, that's good, because Mickey told me that there'd be a little girl dancing to the fireworks and it was her birthday, and that he wanted you to pick out anything you wanted from the glow cart as a birthday present from Mickey to you. And she went crazy. And so we walked over to the nearest glow cart, and she picked out like a spinning Elsa bubble wand or something like that. And we gave it to her for free with a no strings. And then I was like, are there any rides that you guys didn't get to do today that you really want to do? And they were like, we kind of did everything that we wanted to do, but like Space Mountain's always our favorite. And I was like, good point, like that's a fun ride. And so I wrote them out a fast pass for Space Mountain, and I walked them all the way from Pirates of the Caribbean to Tomorrowland Space Mountain, which is like polar opposite ends of the park. I gotta like put them on the ride, and it was so much fun. Go out of your way to make magical moments. It's a lot easier in some roles than others. I know in attractions, like you have specific places you have to be, and so there's really not many magical moments, but they're possible in any role. You just have to seek them out and create them yourself. And the free stuff is what the guests are going to remember, because those are moments. You're not giving them something, but you're like giving them this moment that they're going to hold on to forever. Help at alum. So for traditions, can it be any day, or is there a specific day of the week that is assigned, like every Saturday? Friday, Saturday, or Sunday? So yeah, those are all the questions that I got, and like scrolling through, those are all that I heard about. So I hope that helps you guys. If you have any other questions, definitely comment them down below, or my post is still up on the site. You can just search my name. Also, I'm going to be making vlogs throughout my entire program. Some of them will be like sit down videos like this. Others will be like montages of my day or week, or like adventures in the park with my friends, just set to music or something. It'll be super fun. Definitely subscribe if you haven't already. So yeah, I will see you guys later.